Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing very well. And if any of you are royalist, then you might be a little upset. I am not a royalist, but I'm also not against anybody that's doing a heartfelt and honourable job, or if they believe that they're doing an honourable job, and it may not be so, because maybe that's just how it's disguised, I don't know. But as for our Queen, yes, everybody's just been sort of too keen, aren't they? Too keen to embrace her legacy, which is fine. But my love that I have, I'm going to reserve for my mother and, of course, my father, because they're the ones that nursed me to health when I was ill. They're the ones that took me to school. And the Queen didn't really mean much to me. Certainly not when I was living in Australia. She meant nothing to me. So you might say that I'm a realist, not a royalist. But nevertheless, there'll be 10 days of mourning. And it will serve as a distraction, I'm sure, because nobody's talking about the Ukraine at the moment, are they? I mean, observations aside, but Putin actually sending his condolences for yes, because he's met the Queen, hasn't he? As Putin in his time, probably attended one of the garden parties. I want to talk about the timing. Timing is something that, when it occurs on cue, you have to analyze it. You have to say to yourself, well, how did that happen? Just so. And of course, I'm talking about how the Queen was able to say goodbye to one Prime Minister and then welcome another and then bow out on cue. How did she manage that? Who scripted that? I mean, am I to believe now that she mustered up all the strength that she had left in her body for these two final acts, and then once they were done, she sort of relaxed and decided at that point there that if she was to go, it would be the most fitting time. I suppose that could have been what her thinking was. But I know a lot of people will miss our Queen because that's all they've ever known. And I'm sure at some stage during her 70 years on the throne, I'm sure that there were times where she probably thought, I don't want to do this job anymore. This job is all consuming and it's crushing. After all, she was a mother. She was bringing up children, and she was a wife to Philip. Now she could have had these kind of feelings come upon her where she thought, I want out. But then this reminds me of what young Harry said when Harry said that senior royals are trapped and that they have no choice and they can't walk out. Is that really how it really was? That once she took up the throne, she knew that she'd have to give it 100% because she knew she couldn't walk out. Because previously we had the abdication, didn't we? And I'm sure that the monarchy did not want a repeat of that. So I'm wondering whether she was probably given some early pep talk about her giving her all for the rest of her life. And as she knew she was trapped, she just accepted it. I think that's what people do sometimes. You know, when you can't change anything, you know, when you can't move away from a situation, you prepare yourself for it, don't you? And you toughen up on what you have to do and the responsibilities that you've got. You just really toughen up. I think that that's what she did. Right back when at her coronation, I think she toughened up and she thought to herself, well, I'm here. I'm representing Great Britain and I'm going to give it my all. And I'm sure that's what she did for her 70 years. Now, something's going to take place shortly with the new king. It will be some kind of ceremony where there'll be oil poured out. This is going to throw a few people off a bit when they see it. It's an anointing when the oil is out. It's as if they are saying that the new king to be, which is King Charles III, it's as if they're saying that God is going to bless his new position as king. But I need to stop you there. You see, why? And this doesn't make sense now, right? Why would God bless the Queen, save the Queen? Why would he bless the king or save the king? Why would he do that when the Almighty already has his Son as King of Kings? You see, it doesn't make sense. Not only does he have his Son as King of Kings, conquered death, whereas Elizabeth was taken by death. Jesus Christ conquered death and appeared to certain ones 3 days later to show that the way was open. So there's the difference, people, right? You can get wrapped up in your earthly kings and queens and your dictators and your billionaires and entrepreneurs of this world. But one thing that they can't change and never change, and that is the fact that they will die and their bodies will go back to the dust. The Queen's body will go back to the dust. And the only difference between those with privilege and those without, what I call the commoners, you and me, those on the streets, those that are struggling, the only difference is probably that those with privilege will have a better burial. But the end result is still the same. They die. And they don't, and they're not capable of going on forever. So their rulerships are passed on to their children. But those rulerships, they come to an end. And this is the cycle of life. And I suppose this is what King Solomon was all about, wasn't he? When he was saying that a person's life is absolutely pointless if he just lives it and then bows out without the inclusion of God in his life. For he believed that God is essential for someone having a happy existence. This is King Solomon's observations. But the world will keep turning. It'll keep turning as long as God decides it's going to keep turning. But as for these earthly rulers, kings and queens, past and present, there is someone who is more kingly and someone who will go on forever in his kingly duties, longer than the 70 years that Queen Elizabeth went on for. And of course, I'm talking about King of Kings, Jesus Christ, who has God's messianic kingdom. And it's that messianic kingdom of God's that will outshine and outlive all human rulerships, which will soon be coming to an end.